There is a $2 mixture sitting in your kitchen right now that can resurrect cracked, stiff, decades-old leather seats and make them feel like the day they rolled out of the factory floor. No body shop appointment, no detailing salon, no $100 bottle with a German label and a promise printed in 4 languages. Just 2 ingredients that every civilization on Earth used long before the automotive industry decided you needed to pay them to solve a problem they created. But here is what they never told you. They never told you why your leather cracks in the first place. And until you understand that, you will keep buying the wrong products for the rest of your life. Every single bottle making the problem quietly and visibly worse. This is where it starts, not with the solution, with the crime. Leather is not plastic. It is not vinyl. It is not a synthetic surface that tolerates whatever chemistry you pour onto it. Leather is a biological material. It is dead skin that has been transformed through a process human beings have practiced for roughly 8,000 years, from 6000 BC all the way through Mesopotamia, ancient Greece, the Roman legions, the Moroccan tanneries of the medieval world, and the saddle shops of the American frontier. For most of that history, the craftsmen who worked with leather understood one thing above all else. Leather is acidic by nature, and it must stay that way to survive. The science behind this is straightforward. During the tanning process, the collagen fibers inside a hide are chemically stabilized at a specific pH range. That range sits between 4.5 and 5 on the pH scale. Slightly acidic. It has to be. The amino acids that form the collagen network that gives leather its flexibility and strength are designed by biology to function within that narrow window. When the pH drifts upward into alkaline territory, those collagen fibers begin to lose their chemical cohesion. The bonds that hold the fiber network together weaken. The natural lubricants trapped between the fibers evaporate. And then, slowly, silently, the leather begins to die from the inside out. What you see on the surface as cracking is not damage. It is the final symptom of a process that has been happening beneath the surface for months, sometimes years, before a single visible line appears. Now ask yourself one question. What pH do most commercial leather care products carry? What does the bottle of conditioner that costs $40 or $50 actually contain? Research from leather science institutions confirms that most mainstream synthetic conditioners and cleaners sit at pH levels between 7 and 9, alkaline, squarely in the danger zone for collagen integrity. Every time you wipe down your leather interior with one of those products, you are temporarily masking the surface while chemically attacking the structure beneath it. The leather looks better for a week. Then it looks worse than before. Then you buy another bottle. This is not an accident. This is a business model. Think about what the global leather care products market looks like right now. As of 2025, industry analysts valued it at approximately $3.9 billion. It is projected to reach $5.9 billion by 2034. That is a market built almost entirely on repetition. Products that condition without protecting. Products that clean while slowly degrading. Products that create the next appointment at the same time they service the current one. You are not a customer in this system. You are a subscription. And here is the part that should stop you cold. Every bottle in that category has the same problem. It does not address pH. It addresses appearance. There is a fundamental difference between leather that looks conditioned and leather that has had its biochemical balance restored. One is theater, the other is chemistry. And the chemistry costs $2. So what is it? Equal parts white vinegar and olive oil. That is the formula. A ratio of 1 to 2, 1 part vinegar to 2 parts olive oil, mixed in any small container, applied with a clean cloth in slow circular motions, left to absorb for 10 to 15 minutes, and then buffed off. That is the complete procedure. No proprietary technology, no patented compound, no ingredient that requires a laboratory to produce. 2 things your ancestors recognized as fundamental tools of material preservation. Here is why it works. White vinegar carries a pH of approximately 2.4 to 3.4. When diluted with olive oil and absorbed into the surface of leather, it gently corrects the alkaline drift caused by years of synthetic product use or simple environmental exposure. It does not over-acidify. The combination buffers itself naturally. The vinegar restores the acidic environment that the collagen fibers need to maintain their structural integrity. And the olive oil? Olive oil is a triglyceride-rich fat with a fatty acid profile remarkably close to the natural oils that inhabited leather during the tanning process. It feeds the fiber network. It occupies the microscopic spaces between collagen strands that synthetic silicones and petroleum distillates can only coat on the surface without penetrating. There is a critical difference between coating leather and conditioning it. Silicone sits on top. Olive oil goes inside. And what goes inside stays inside. Now here is a question worth sitting with. If this works, if the science is there, if the chemistry is sound, if practitioners and home restorers have been quietly reporting results with this mixture for decades, then why does no major automotive brand, no detailing chain, no car manufacturer's recommended care guide ever mention it? Why does the owner's manual for a luxury vehicle direct you toward a specific branded product at a specific price when two ingredients from your kitchen achieve the same biochemical outcome? The answer is the same answer it always is. Because what cannot be sold cannot be allowed to be known. The modern automotive leather care market did not grow by helping your leather last longer. It grew by shortening the cycle. A car interior that ages gracefully, that stays supple and uncracked for 15 or 20 years with basic natural maintenance, is a car interior that never generates a detailing appointment, a replacement seat cover order, a professional restoration booking, or a repeat bottle purchase. But an interior treated with alkaline synthetic conditioners that strip the collagen environment while appearing to nourish, that interior will begin showing fatigue cracks in 5 to 7 years, right on schedule, right at the moment when the warranty has expired and the repair bill lands entirely on you. Think about the older vehicles, the ones that became legendary for the quality of their interiors. Decades-old sedans with hides that still moved like water over the hand, still carried that particular mineral warmth that modern synthetic interiors can never replicate. Those vehicles were maintained, often by their original owners, or by mechanics who learned from craftsmen who learned from people who understood the nature of the material. They use natural fats, beeswax, neat's foot oil, animal tallows, mixtures that sat chemically close to what leather is made of, not what marketing departments decided leather should be cleaned with. The Moroccan tanning tradition, centered in a city whose leather quarter has operated in essentially the same configuration since the 11th century, never abandoned natural materials. The pigeon droppings and quicklime used in the soaking pits sound primitive until you understand their chemistry. The alkaline lime strip phase is followed by an acidic rebalancing bath. The craftsmen, who could neither read a pH meter nor articulate the word collagen, understood intuitively that leather required both phases to achieve stability. They arrived at the same conclusion that modern biochemistry confirms. You cannot maintain leather long-term without managing its acid balance. But when did the shift happen? When did the industry successfully replace that inherited knowledge with branded chemistry? It accelerated in the 1980s. The mass market car boom of the 70s and 80s brought leather interiors out of luxury vehicles and into mid-range consumer cars. Suddenly, leather was not a specialist material maintained by craftsmen. It was a mass product consumed by millions of people who had no inherited knowledge of what leather actually needed. The chemical industry saw the opening. They produced products that looked scientific, smelled engineered, came in branded packaging, and created a dependency loop. Use it every month, the label said. And people did, because they did not know any different, because nobody told them what leather actually is. Here is the number that frames the scale of it. The global car care products market sits at approximately $12.26 billion in 2025. A measurable slice of that figure flows directly from products marketed for leather interiors. Products with ingredient lists that read like a refinery report. Silicone emulsions, petroleum distillates, propylene glycol carriers, formaldehyde-adjacent preservatives. Compounds that sit at pH levels hostile to the very material they claim to protect. And behind every bottle is a renewal cycle. Because every product in that category is designed with one unstated objective: make sure the customer needs to come back. The vinegar and olive oil mixture breaks that cycle completely. It is not a premium product. It cannot be patented. You cannot build a brand around it because anyone can make it in 30 seconds for less than 50 cents per application. A single application on a dried, cracked, vintage leather seat, the kind that has been subjected to years of synthetic product accumulation and UV exposure, can restore visible softness within 24 hours as the olive oil penetrates the collagen network and the vinegar recalibrates the pH environment. Multiple applications over 2 to 3 weeks, applied every 3 to 4 days, can bring leather back from a state of advanced surface cracking that most body shop technicians would quote you $1,500 to $2,000 to professionally restore. A man restoring a 1972 passenger car found the driver's seat leather so brittle it cracked audibly when touched. The surface had the texture of old paper. He applied the mixture every other day for 3 weeks. By week 2, the cracking had stopped progressing. By week 3, the surface had regained enough flexibility that the existing cracks had closed at the edges, the fibers having re-expanded as the oil fed the desiccated fiber network. The seat was not new, but it was alive again. He spent approximately $4 total. The body shop quote had been $1,800. A family in rural Spain used the same basic approach on the leather harness equipment passed down through 3 generations of their household. Equipment that dated back well over 60 years, maintained with olive oil and wine vinegar in ratios that varied by instinct rather than formula, remained completely functional and supple, while comparable equipment maintained with commercial products deteriorated structurally within a decade. This is not folklore. This is material science applied unconsciously over generations because the people doing it understood the substance they were working with. Now here is where the numbers become genuinely uncomfortable. If the mixture works for cracked antique leather, if it works for aged vehicle interiors, if it works for dried equestrian equipment, and if the underlying chemistry of why it works is published, documented, and scientifically coherent, then what exactly are you buying when you spend $40 on a bottle at an automotive detailing shop? You are buying packaging. You are buying the confidence that comes from a product that looks engineered. You are buying access to a cycle that requires you to return. And every time you return, the leather beneath the surface moves one step closer to the condition that requires a professional intervention. The global leather conditioner market alone was valued at $850 million in 2023 and is projected to nearly double to $1.8 billion by 2033. Double in a decade. Because the solutions sold do not solve. They sustain a managed decline that keeps the customer in the funnel. A market that genuinely solved the problem it sold to would not double in size. It would shrink. The growth is the evidence. The growth tells you exactly what the products are designed to do. And here is what you can do right now, today, without ordering anything. Find a small jar or spray bottle. Pour in 1 part white vinegar, standard household distilled white vinegar with roughly 5% acidity. Add 2 parts olive oil. Shake well. Find the leather surface in your car, your sofa, your jacket, your bags, whatever has been stiffening or cracking. Wipe it down first with a barely damp, clean cloth to remove surface grime. Then, apply the mixture with a soft cloth using slow, circular motions. Work it into the surface. Do not soak it. Apply enough that the surface takes the mixture but does not sit visibly wet. Let it absorb for 10 to 15 minutes. Buff gently with a dry cloth to remove any residue. Repeat every 3 to 4 weeks for maintenance. The vinegar smell will dissipate within 30 to 60 minutes as it dries. What remains is a leather surface that has been chemically rebalanced and physically relubricated at the fiber level, not coated, fed. If you have leather that is already cracked deeply, do not expect one application to close the cracks. The collagen fibers in those areas have experienced structural separation, but you will stop the progression. You will restore flexibility to the surrounding areas, and with repeated applications over 4 to 6 weeks, you will see the difference between living leather and leather in managed decline. Because that is ultimately what this comes down to. Leather is not a surface. It is a material with chemistry, with biology embedded in its history. It has needs. And those needs are ancient, well understood, and ridiculously affordable. The craftsmen of the Moroccan tanneries knew it. The saddle makers of the American frontier knew it. The harness shops of Victorian England knew it. The Bedouin tribes who maintained leather water vessels in desert conditions for generations without degradation knew it. And somewhere along the way, in the 1980s and 90s, as the automotive and home goods industries consolidated and the branded care product category exploded, that knowledge was quietly set aside. Not destroyed, not disproven, just made invisible. Invisible is not gone. The formula is 2 ingredients and 30 seconds of effort. The industry spent billions of dollars building a replacement system, and the replacement system is measurably worse for the material it claims to protect. That is not oversight. That is the point. A product that permanently solves the problem cannot be sold as a subscription, and what cannot generate monthly revenue cannot be allowed to spread. The leather in your car right now is either being fed or being consumed. The choice costs $2 and takes 30 seconds to make. The next time you reach for the branded bottle, ask yourself one question. Is this feeding the leather, or is this feeding the system? Subscribe and share with someone whose seats are cracking. Every share puts this knowledge back where it belongs. More buried knowledge open soon.